actually kind of interesting how on, well, the last video for now, or the video before the previous one, whenever I actually upload this, a lot of people, or a couple people were like, oh, is your hair thinning? Are you getting, like, too much testosterone or something like that? It's like, huh? Well, evidently, it seems like some people have an unrealistic view on how human head hair works. Because basically, it's very difficult to fully cover a surface with long strips of organic matter. I mean, you're going to get some areas where your skin is not entirely covered. Like for instance, usually on my head, that's because like wherever the hair is parting, and also sometimes the hair kind of like clumps together in bigger strands, or it gets like twisted around itself or whatever. So it's more like localized, so it's covering less area. You can kind of see that. I mean, I can just like pull my hair back harder, and that makes it more noticeable. I mean, it's not that my hair is thinning; it's just how hair is. Like my head's been like this since, I don't know, since I can remember, like 8 or so. That's just how hair is. Hair does not cover your head perfectly because it's it is impossible to cover a sphere with hair without having it like bunching up or having like a bald spot on one side. That's just how a sphere works, and your head is pretty much a sphere. Like for instance, actually, yeah, like for instance, usually on the corners over here, I can see that right there. These corners kind of get kind of funky. Not really sure if that shows up, but like for instance, if the hair gets pulled away like that, whenever I have like a really tight ponytail, then you can see the bit right there because the hair, the angle at which the hairs are coming out differ. And I believe that's one of the same issues with up here is I have like kind of a random hairline where some hairs are going that way, some hairs are going that way. I don't know, they're just kind of doing their own thing, kind of random, but that kind of can make them like bunched together. And so the area where they're not bunched together, you can see through. I just find that interesting how I guess people have an idealized depiction in their head of how hair is, and maybe they don't actually like look close enough. Because I mean, I'd have to say they probably would have the same thing because that's just kind of how hair is, or at least how a lot of hair is. You know what I mean? It's a very imperfect, very messy thing that's just kind of growing on your head. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's interesting. Also, I guess a lot of people haven't spent time trying to like make algorithms to or mess with the algorithms and stuff like that about like hair theory. There's actually like stuff like that for 3D modeling of hair. It's so difficult because like for instance in Blender, I spent a good amount of time making uh, hair out of particles. So basically, you tell it some parameters that tell how each particle to link up and to act, and then you can say, "Oh, make chains of these particles," and then you can simulate their gravity, and they act like hair. Kind of. There's a lot of variables that go into it. Like for instance, then you have like wet hair, dry hair, human hair, anything other else. I mean, like twisted hair, stuff like that. And it's just so difficult, and it's such a complex thing that, of course, you're gonna have spaces that are like showing through. I mean, you're covering your head with something that has a smaller cross section than your head. Like for instance, I would say about like maybe 15% of your head is actually being seen. It's just that in some areas you don't really notice the holes between the hairs because the hair themselves have a dithering effect that where you see mostly the hairs, you see, oh, it's brown. On other times like here, here, and here, you have the dithering effect that goes the opposite way where you see mostly the skin and not much of the hair. But to be honest, if I go anywhere on my head and I part the hairs, you're gonna see more of the skin. That's how it works. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like, I guess some people are just misinformed or something like that. I don't know. Oh well. I'm actually pretty lucky that I actually inherited my great grandfather's kind of like hair genetics, which also means that I'm very hairy in other places, like for instance in my armpits and my face. It's like, come on. Why do I have to have thick hair? It's, yeah. But I would say that I do like that I did get my great-grandfather's hair, because basically some hairs, I mean, I can't really tell that, because I feel like the hairs are actually kind of thin, but there's a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like my great grandfather had hair until he was 97, or I think, or 98. I can't remember. So yeah, either way, it's just hair. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See ya!